almost unrecognisable tonight.
Well, first off, I think congratulations have to go to this Belgium team to come into this environment. And to echo what Stu and John said, if anytime this happens, and I've been through this now a lot, the question is always, well, was this a success? Look, I think that this team did win hearts and minds. I think this team did bring people into the tent, and they should be incredibly proud of that. But also there's a part of me that says the time for moral victories is over, and so we've left something on the table here, and that to me is disappointing. I also know it's going to be disappointing to the players and to Mauricio Pochettino when they look at this game, because again, the goals that they gave up at times were self-inflicted against a better team. But this U.S. team has beaten better teams in the past. It just didn't happen here today. So it's going to be disappointing to go out, but also in the way in which they went out, which was much more of a whimper than a roar that we had seen through this tournament.
As you say, very convincing from Rudy Garcia and Belgium, and many congratulations to them for that spot in the quarterfinals. Zlatan Ibrahimovic, your first thoughts after this one?
My first thought, they played a better team, and they are better than U.S. when you look at the paper also. And the game, I think this was the worst game that the U.S. did, but they faced also a proper opponent where I was like, Rudy Garcia has a plan for second half, but U.S. couldn't figure out the first half with the starting 11. But this is the game. U.S., they should be proud. They had momentum. They didn't disappoint anyone in the way that in the other games. Yes, the result today is not good, but in the end, I think they had a good run, and they did maximum what they could in this tournament. Then, yes, you can have luck, you can go further, but I think this was also a little bit of a reality check for U.S.
Thierry?
Levels. You didn't play Bosnia. You didn't play the team that you played in your group stage. Levels. The World Cup is different in group stage. Round of 32 never existed before. Everyone made his story in a round 32. It never existed before. That's what you had to go and win today. Beat that Belgian team that people thought they were talking about Balogun, Chalibion. There's a game to play and to win. Right? So unfortunately, one host, two hosts, three hosts out. That's exactly what you don't want at a World Cup. That is annoying for me. But at the end of the very day, this guy that you see on the screen controlled the midfield by himself every single time. Stop every counters, controlled it. And I wanted to see a team that could defend 1v1. I wanted to see a team that was going to be different when they were going to be 1-0 down or not. And they couldn't answer. Levels. And at the end of the day, the third goal changed everything, because it looked like they might be coming back. And when you concede a goal like that, you're going nowhere. This is the World Cup. A new tournament has started. Levels.
You have a point at 2-1, Lexi. They had some momentum, they were on the ball, and then the Matt Freese error.
Yeah, I mean, Matt Freese started the game with an incredible save, and we've been saying all tournament that he has yet to really make the big save. That could have been his big save if he hadn't followed it up later with what is really going to live long in his mind and the minds of American soccer fans, because in that moment, to Terry's point, there was momentum. We've talked so much about momentum in this tournament. There was momentum. And in a game where there wasn't a whole lot to be happy about, and there wasn't a whole lot of momentum, coming out in the second half, yeah, that was something that this team needed. And then boom, you just sap it right there in that moment. You know, you see the players, you see them on the field, you see them kick the ball, but they go through a process in a tournament, living together, traveling together, seeing everything that's happening around them, and it's incredibly emotional. I'm sure it's emotional for Mauricio Pochettino and for all of these players here. They will need time to digest this. I think that they will be honest with themselves. I think that Mauricio Pochettino will be honest with us, with the press. I think as an American soccer community that continues to grow, we'll be honest about what we need to do in order to get to Thierry's point, that next level, and be able to compete consistently with the elite teams in the world.
Just real quick, I have to ask you, do you think the Flo Balogun thing became a distraction?
Not for this team. I think it was noise outside. And by the way, I don't think Flo Belgium was the problem at all today. I thought he worked the channels. I thought he made himself available. I just don't think that he was provided the service in those crucial areas that he needs. So this was not on Flo Belgium. There were a lot of bad performances out there today, but it wasn't Flo Belgium.
I just wanted to add something. People out there, yes, there is a disappointment on the result, but let's not stop pushing this sport in this country. I think that's very important. Built from what happened, yes, there were levels today. Belgium was way better. I told you it's not because the big guns are on the bench that you need to disrespect that team or not underestimate that team, because Trossard can play, the Catelara can play, Luke Baku can play, and you saw what the midfield can do, and at the back we can go also. But do not stop here believing that it can happen. It will happen eventually one day.
While this World Cup is over for this U.S. men's national team, this World Cup is far from over for the United States.
Okay, yeah, good point, gentlemen. Thank you. So 4-1, the final score then. The first half damage was done by Charles Catelara. This Belgian team were 2-1 up at half-time and added 2 more after the break. And Belgium growing nicely now into this, what is still a magical World Cup. This is the watch party in Kortrijk, back home in Belgium, in the middle of the night. But now their quarter-finalists will have more post-match thoughts.
Down.
Yeah.
And his attitude epitomised the entire lineup, didn't
That's
it?
right. He's got to be the one to say, look, we're all over the place here. Let's get organized. Let's get disciplined, be compact, let ourselves get into the game again, and then we can go on from there. But Belgium did everything right in this game. They were all over them. They were pressing them. 3-4 players at a time, very intense in the way they were playing, and just a far better team. They completely outclassed them.
And when they got back to 1-1, having conceded that early goal, it was 116 seconds between the 1-1 goal and going down by 2 goals to 1. Pretty much like Mexico and Canada, if these host nations were going to go deep in the tournament, you need your big players to be able to play a lot of minutes and make big impact. And we talked pre-game about Christian Pulisic not being in the best of form for club or country in recent times, and he'll look back on this. It wasn't a great World Cup for him, was it? He had the injury issue as well, but he wasn't able to impact the games the way the US needs him to if they're going to go deep.
No, he didn't impact the game at all. He was absolutely terrible in the match, to be honest. He had 11 giveaways in the first half, 14.
This team, after everything they've given us this summer, they looked almost unrecognisable tonight.
Well, first off, I think congratulations have to go to this Belgium team to come into this environment, and echo what Stu and John said. You know, anytime this happens, and I've been through this now a lot, the question is always, well, was this a success? Look, I think that this team did win hearts and minds. I think this team did bring people into the tent, and they should be incredibly proud of that. But also there's a part of me that says the time for moral victories is over, and so we've left something on the table here, and that to me is disappointing. I also know it's going to be disappointing to the players and to Mauricio Pochettino when they look at this game, because again, the goals that they gave up at times were self-inflicted against a better team, but this U.S. team has beaten better teams in the past. It just didn't happen here today, so it's going to be disappointing to go out, but also in the way in which they went out, which was much more of a whimper than a roar that we had seen through this tournament.
As you say, very convincing from Rudy Garcia and Belgium, and many congratulations to them for that spot in the quarterfinals. Zlatan Ibrahimovic, your first thoughts after this one?
My first thought, they played a better team, and they are better than US when you look at the paper.